Tall privilege.
Tall privilege, Joe, right?
I spent some time on Tinder or Bumble or whatever, and that was very... I mean, I had known the people's preferences about height, but that it's made very clear when women are like, if you are not taller than 6 foot, I'm going to need you to commit suicide in front of me.
Hello and welcome to Is This Good? The show where we boldly, conclusively, and scientifically decide what things in this big wide world are good. I'm Matt Austin, and with me as always is production powerhouse Jason Doyle.
Hello.
Hi JD, thanks for coming. And today's guest is not just one of the best because he's a quality comedian, he's also a quantity comedian. I'm talking 2 stand-up specials, an album of funny songs and sketches called Funny Songs and Sketches, writing and starring in hilarious online videos, comedic acting in commercials with the likes of Derek Jeter, and writing some of the funniest fake clickhole quotes you've read on the internet. The only comedic medium he's not involved in, probably the hardest one, podcasting. It's Joe Kwaczala. Joe, welcome to Is This Good? And I hope you do okay on this crazy thing we call podcasting.
I'm so scared.
I'm sitting in my own house leaning back on a gaming chair, and I'm very frightened.
Yeah, it's, who knows what could happen. What's funny is I do have a podcast, but it's not really a comedy podcast. It's like a music podcast. I have a podcast about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I think by the nature of me being a comedian, I hope that it's a comedic show. But we talk to a lot of like music people, music writers, industry people, that kind of thing. But so the medium of podcast is one I'm familiar with. But you're right. A comedy podcast, I might just melt down.
Now, wait. Is your Rock and Roll Hall of Fame podcast in your link tree?
Yeah, it should be somewhere.
Is it?
I think.
Okay, I'm not.
There's
sure
a lot. I mean, but you're right there. When you said quantity, I was like, I've thought that myself before, and people are always like quality over quantity, and I'm always like, what about both? Because I love to put shit out, and yeah. So like, I don't, no knock on if you didn't see it, because you gotta scroll, and at a certain point, you're like, I'm hungry. I gotta take a break. How much can I scroll here for?
Okay, Vulture article about how he once posted 31 videos in a day. We got to stop the link tree. At some point, the link tree runs out of branches. So what's on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame podcast is basically every episode ranting about how if you're an indie band from the 80s or 90s, you'll never get in.
That's certainly a theme that comes up. But it's interesting with this show being called Is This Good? It made me think about our show, because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is an institution that is very important, but also peripheral, and mostly it just makes people mad. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason it makes people mad is because it is kind of impossible to be objective about music. And not only is it difficult to do, but nobody really wants to do that. Like, the fun of listening to music and talking about music is the stuff that you just love, or the stuff that you hate, or the things that's not connecting, or this album from this artist didn't work. It's all subjectivity. That's like the name of the game. And in order to have like a level-headed, clear conversation about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you need to try and strive to have an objective conversation about music, which is so difficult, but it's the only way to do it. And that's something that our show strives to do, is when like the ballot comes out every year, we go through the artists that are on there. We try to give a sense of their history, their story, but then we also try to use these categories and evaluate them to see like, okay, just taking out taste, does this artist have what it takes to get in the hall, and would they? And like, will it happen this year? That kind of stuff.
But you're also going even across genre, because it's not just rock and roll at this point, right?
No, I mean, like, if you look at the story of rock and roll, and you look at where like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame started, and you look at who was inducted like in the first year, sure, you have Elvis and Buddy Holly and Chuck Berry, but you also have Sam Cooke and James Brown and Little Richard, and you can see, and then the next year is Aretha Franklin and Muddy Waters and Marvin Gaye, and so you can see how the beginning, when it was all considered rock and roll, and R&B and rock and roll were basically interchangeable terms in like the early 60s, how they have like branched out, and like the spirit of rock and roll and the sounds have, through a ton of different reasons, gotten more disparate in this kind of tree. Speaking of link trees, got a bit of an Arbor theme here, but like you can imagine.
And it's Arbor Day. Wow!
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
To me, every day is Arbor Day. But we wind up with a really wide net. But I do think you can follow the tributaries back up to commonalities.
I guess you can, but then you also run into the issue of popularity, right? I mean, because if the goal is, could you tell the story of music or rock music without this band, then in some sense, that does imply that they need to be popular, or that a popular band somehow has more currency than, like I'm saying, like an indie band from the 80s and 90s that might have been hugely influential on a lot of other bands, like a Replacements, let's say, or a Pavement.
Totally.
But then, like, you put them in, and people maybe like me or like you would be passionate about it, but then you get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the mass of humanity would just be like, I've never heard of this band, or I don't like this band.
It's a tricky calculation to make. In recent years, the Hall has been bending more towards a kind of populist inductee class, and we've seen artists that don't have the commercial appeal. They kind of struggle on the ballot, and so you have, because there was a time when you could see certain artists get in over bigger artists on the ballot, like back in like even if I think about 2011 was the first time Bon Jovi was on the ballot, and they didn't get in, but like Tom Waits and Dr. John did, and that kind of result would never happen today. You always are able to look at the ballot and say, who does my mom know, and then put those at the top of the rankings in terms of probability of getting in that year.
Yeah. Well, I guess I felt so bad that I didn't see that you had a podcast that we just did 5 minutes of it.
I mean, if that's what it takes.
Can I make a hard left turn? And it is quite hard, because one thing I noticed from your stand-up is that, like me, you are short. And
yes.
Now, I know we're not aiming for exact truth in comedy, but according to the bit, you are somewhere between 5'4" and 5'7". If I had to guess, 5'5".
You know, sometimes you go to the doctor and they ask you to take your shoes off, and sometimes you go to the doctor and the shoes remain on. And I would say shoes off, which is it was just the objective height. I'm about 5'4", but last time I was at the doctor, they didn't ask me to take my shoes off, and I'm not having I don't have lifts or anything, but just kind of the standard shoe thickness at the bottom there. I was coming in at around 5'5", 5'5 and a half. So,
okay. I'm 5'5" in socks, as they say, as if we would be doing this podcast at the NBA Combine. I have the same thought though, sometimes, because I usually wear Chucks. And every time I put them on, I have the thought, I'm like, these are truly doing nothing for me. I should just be wearing high top Jordans at all times.
Totally.
Okay, so this is maybe a weird question, but because I am also short, I have an answer for this. Do you remember when you realized you were short, or / that like being short was something that other people saw as not good?
That's very interesting, because at a certain point we're all little babies,
right?
And then some catch up and some are left in the dust, and it was like, it was early. Like, I feel like maybe before even kindergarten, I understood that I was shorter than the rest of my crew, my class, and I just never really caught up. And I'm trying to remember when. I mean, like, you measure yourself. The teacher measures you in second grade, or like it just randomly in class. Maybe there's like a height thing.
Line up by height or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And I don't know that I ever had an inciting incident, or like for the biopic of Joe Kwaczala, Short Man, if there was a moment where it really dawned on me. I don't know that I have that. I think it was just kind of ever present.
Yeah, because I mean, I always obviously knew I was short. I wasn't delusional, but I swear it wasn't until I was probably 26 or 7 that I was like, oh, this is bad.
That's late. That seems really late.
It's late. Does it seem late? Because I was in school the whole time. So when you're in school, you're just around people your own age. So in terms of like dating, for instance, which seems to be the biggest place it comes up, I don't know, you tend to date people that you're going to school with. Everyone knows you already. It's not a surprise to them how tall you are. But I was in law school. So let's say I'm 27. We're going to do interviews. And I walk into this sort of a hotel, like meeting area. And all my classmates are there in suits, and they fucking look great in suits. And I'm there, and this thing is fucking hanging off of me. And I honestly was in that moment where I was like, oh, yeah, this isn't going to look good to them.
Tall privilege.
Tall privilege, Joe, right?
Totally.
People don't realize.
Yeah, and I spent some time on Tinder or Bumble or whatever, and that was very, I mean, I had known the people's preferences about height, but that it's made very clear when women are like, if you are not taller than 6 foot, I'm going to need you to commit suicide in front of me. You know, like there's something about like the internet and like you don't have to say it in front of someone with your mouth that like it gets oddly severe in the bias.
Yeah, well then when you don't write it, then have you had the experience where like you've had great chats, then they walk in, you stand up to be like, hey, Denise, and you do see a look across their face where they're like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've had that. I did remember it wasn't in the profile of the woman, but before we met up, she did ask me how much or how tall I was, because it was like, you know, she knew you don't want to be aggressive in the profile, but then it was like, we're gonna meet up. All right, let's cut the shit. Like how tall are you? And I want to say, because she was like, last guy I met up with was like 5'3", and he was lying. And I was like, uh-oh, that's getting kind of close. And I feel like maybe I rolled up some socks and put them in my shoe just to give me an additional, which is so sad, where it's like,
I know, I like
it's that kind of
my heart
insecurity.
breaks for us.
Yeah, this insecurity of your 20s, where like now, and it's I've been with my girlfriend for a long time, and I'm very, again, privileged to have the clarity to say, like, if you have to do that, it's not going to work out. Like, if they need that, then that's not the person you want to be with. But, you know, it's at a time where I would say I got a relatively late start, where still I was just like, the idea that anyone would even entertain like going on a date with me, being interested in me, felt so unattainable that I had to do everything I could to give myself an advantage.
Right. And because they, like, you always hear size doesn't matter. But then at a certain point you realize, oh, unless that size is your height, then it's actually the most important thing. Penis size. That's what we were talking about.
That was...
Shit, I didn't realize.
That's what people thought was the big deal.
I didn't realize that's where the positivity ended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Short men, it's no... you can make fun of short men all the live-long day and just straight up be like, I'm not hiring you. I'm not electing you. I don't trust you. I'm not attracted to you. It's... but I do have to say, and I don't know if you have the... again, privilege or how you are in terms of your relationship status now, but I've been with my girlfriend for like close to 5 years, and shortness is not a thing I really ever think about ever.
No, and I'm with someone, and she's actually a bit taller than me, so she's probably the biggest saint in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she deserves a Nobel.
Yeah. Well, we will do a round of applause at the end of the show to honor her, as we do every episode. Some very quick housekeeping. If you'd like to support the show and get exclusive content, go to patreon.com/isthisgood. And of course, you could send topics for future shows to isthisgoodpod@gmail.com and subscribe on YouTube. Joe, the premise of the show is very simple. I'll give you a topic. You tell me if you think it's good. We'll hash it out. Ned M. wrote in to ask, telling someone they have bad breath, is this good? Now, I'll just start by saying that this has happened to me, in that I have been told Not just short, Joe, also bad breathed. Though I do think that as I go into it, you'll see that I don't have bad breath. It was merely situational, but that interaction has haunted me. But what's your gut reaction off the top here? Would you ever tell someone this?
I think you have to.
Really?
I think it's tough, and it's also conditional based on who the person is to you, right? Like if it is a friend, if it is a close friend, I think it is a very good thing to do. To me, to just grab a friend who I've known for a long time and just kind of be like, hey, just FYI, your breath is at a point that like I would want to know that it's like an issue, and so I'm telling you, my friend, that you should take care of it. Now it becomes a little trickier when it is a stranger, right?
Right.
Because you don't know how they're going to take it. You don't know if it might incite an incident. You don't know if they will be insulted, and so that's a different thing. But I think among someone you're comfortable with, now if you're like on a date, that's like, I think you can't. I think there's some decorum there where you have to be like, ew.
Ew.
Yeah.
You take the external ooh, and just keep it inside.
Mm-hmm. I think so. It's just because
no. But why would you? Why would you do it on a date? There's no reason to do that. Like, you grin and bear it, literally. And then if you end up dating, and that's the only problem, then I think it'd be easier to have the chat then.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many things on a first date you're not telling someone.
No, you're not even. There's nothing true. There's no truth in a first date. Both what you're saying, what anything is, it's all a charade. If you're lucky, maybe there's something real coming through. But yeah, it's. But then you also think about, like, is bad breath could conceivably be a symptom of a greater problem that someone might need to address.
Dehydration.
Perhaps some sort of fungal growth. Perhaps any type of bacterial issue that like could lead to difficult things to deal with later on.
So are you the kind of person that, for instance, if we were having lunch together and I had something in my teeth, you would no problem tell me right away?
Always.
Toilet paper stuck to shoe?
Yes.
Okay, totally. Toilet paper coming out of pants.
Toilet paper anywhere.
Okay, toilet paper
I'm
anywhere.
letting you know there's toilet paper on your person, and that's not ideal.
Okay, then what about smell? Just a general, you smell.
BO.
That's tough.
Tougher than bad breath?
Bad breath, you can get gum. Bad breath, someone probably in the room has gum. Someone we know might have gum.
Or an Altoid.
A Listerine strip or a mint. Yeah, exactly. It's something you could kind of handle. Body odor and stench is like the response after you tell someone that. It's like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, go buy deodorant and then, or like change my clothes?
Shower.
You know what
I mean, yeah.
Shower, but like, I guess if it was my girlfriend, I would tell her, because I'd be like, or she's told me, and like, I don't care. And it's just like, yeah, you shower. But like, presumably the person you're talking to, it's like you're somewhere where that fix isn't as convenient.
Okay, well, you say you don't care, but I'll tell you the reason to care, or at least from my perspective, is since this person told me that I had bad breath, I was 19 years old. It was 8 a.m., like in a college class.
Okay.
You know, I hadn't eaten anything yet. I had brushed my teeth. But,
Sure.
you know, it's basically still morning breath.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to this person in a lecture hall and had to whisper something to them. So I'm right up in their grill. And they hit me with, hey, your breath stinks. And I'll never, no matter, like, I'm brushing, I'm Listerining, I'm flossing, probably not as much as I should. I'm not tongue scraping, but I'm willing to. I chew gum. I will always believe I have bad breath, even if I don't. And that is the thing that you are putting on someone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are these habits bad?
No, they're great habits to have.
What, the hygiene habits?
Yeah,
all these hygiene habits. Yeah, because you're overly concerned, but like, I don't know, it's not. They put you into into a routine that I don't think is a bad routine to be in.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, but then we should just tell everyone they dress like shit so that they'll put a lot of effort into their wardrobe, or tell them. Well, okay, well, I don't know.
The hygiene, I think, is more important than looking good. Like, that hygiene is a health thing.
I mean, you say that, but like we could be telling the guy his breath stinks. Let me say, you could have the freshest breath ever, but the filthiest hands ever, but because germs are invisible, you'll never know.
And then if you take care of your breath, and then you don't take it. It's better to take care of one than none.
Okay, fair enough. But
The bottom line is everybody has bad breath at some point. Like you said, like
If you catch them at a certain time.
like fucking everybody. My default is I have bad breath. That's my assumption. When I'm in public, I chew gum relentlessly. I floss. I do scrape my tongue morning and night. It doesn't matter. I drink a coffee and that's it. It smells like something fucking died in there. So I don't know. Like, you just have to. We're human beings. Everybody's gonna have bad breath. So if you tell somebody they have bad breath, you're not telling them, oh, you're 100% of the time have bad breath. Like, you are a person that just has bad breath. That's not the case. You're just saying, hey, whatever cocktail you just sucked back smells like somebody took a dump in your mouth. So you might want to do something about it.
It's not like being short, for instance, where it's like, what do you want me to do about that? I am always going to be this height.
Exactly.
But breath can come and go. But then what is the confidence of people? Like, I'm like you, JD. I'm always default bad breath. Mm-hmm. But then I'm standing in like the lunch line at a salad place or a Subway or Jersey Mike's. People ordering like tuna with raw onions on a salad at lunch and then going back to work. And I always like, I don't understand. Like, would you do that, Joe? Or are you more conscious of like, maybe not the tzatziki at lunch?
I can't say. I wish I could say that I was conscious of the food and how it's manifesting as breath. And I'm just kind of eating what I want. But I would say I don't think my lunch tends to be too exotic or too wild. But like, I'm kind of a dinner, anything goes.
Oh, dinner, anything goes, but you're at home.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not. Yeah. So that's interesting. I've never really been an onion guy necessarily, but it's always just been like, if they're around, I'm into it. But I'm not like, let's lay on the onions a little bit extra for this.
The most insane thing is if you're at like a cocktail party, they take around these canapes that are literally the worst possible thing you could make in that environment where you're supposed to mingle and meet people for the first time. So you got like a blue cheese on some kind of weird smoked salmon and shit, and you're drinking that with a sip of red wine. That is, give it a couple of minutes and your breath smells fucking horrid. So
maybe we need to destigmatize brushing on the go. Because I think now, if you walk around with a toothbrush, even if it's just in your desk at the office, people think that's weird. Or you would walk into the bathroom, someone's brushing their teeth and spitting it out into the company sink. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe we just need to say that is fine. In fact, that should be the norm.
Yeah.
I brushed my teeth at the gym today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly.
I brushed my teeth at the damn gym.
And people high-fived you, I assume?
People were losing their minds. They said, this guy has figured it out.
How does he... Fuck.
No,
I've been caught flossing at work.
Okay.
Not the dance. Not
flossing is like...
Flossing is flaunting. That's what you were going to say.
I always say it. No, but it's like flossing, but like detritus, like debris. Like flossing is a explosion of debris. And so you got to be careful. Like, I would say flossing has to be done in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. I have heard stories of people who are just like flossing at their desk, flossing at a meeting, which is like,
animals.
True animal behavior. But even flossing in the bathroom in front of the mirror, it's like specks are going to get on the mirror. Mm-hmm. Specks are just flying everywhere. You really can't contain it. That and clipping your nails, it's like, it's a free-for-all. That shit's flinging all about. And I clip my nails outside. I just step outside because I know that I'm not going to be able to. I don't know about you guys. When I clip my nails, those things are like ping, pong.
Sure.
They're just like I try to contain
Birds
it
are
as-
falling out of trees. Hey,
Yeah,
trees.
well, in that yeah, in that regard, Happy Arbor Day. It's good. It's a defense, but no, inside it's just like I don't want like one of my nails to like turn up somewhere because I wasn't able to fully contain it. But if I'm just outside, it's like it's fine.
What about trimming your beard? Outside, inside?
Trimming my beard inside, and I use a product that should be called a beard bib, but it's called the Beard King. And it's essentially that. It's a bib, but you take 2 suction cups and they stick on the mirror, and there's just like it's like a net that catches it. And so as you trim, all the stuff falls into the net, the catcher, and then when you're done, you ball it up, and then you take it outside, or you put it in the trash, whatever you want to do. I take it outside, and I just kind of like...
Or save it.
Or save it for a little doll you would like to make about of your shavings. But I highly recommend the Beard King Beard Bib because it. I mean, I didn't think I was going to do a product sponsorship.
Yeah, I remember
here.
beardking.com, code ITG20. How far out from the mirror does it extend, though? That's what because I have a shorter beard than you, and this is a big problem for me. These tiny little hairs, much like your nails, flying everywhere.
Right.
But I don't understand. To me, it would need to be at least 4 feet long and 5 feet wide.
Well, no, I mean you're just like in the bathroom, and there's like the mirror is in front of you, the sink is below you.
Yeah, okay. You're
And
painting
so
a picture.
You're just kind of like from your neck to the mirror.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is genius. I'm honestly writing this down.
What did you think I was saying?
Well, because you said suction it to the mirror, so then I was confused.
Yeah, so like in the sense that like you're wrapping it around your neck with like Velcro.
Yes.
And then,
Yes!
then the net is coming up, and to affix it to something, you use 2 suction cups on the mirror, so then it stays put. So because you're not going, it has to be mobile, right? You have to be able to take it off, right? And so that's a way to temporarily stick it. So then it has this little canopy that then catches
Like a hammock. A hair
yeah,
hammock.
like a hammock, exactly.
Okay. I'm getting one. Thank you. This has been very educational. We could end the show now, but unfortunately, we're going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, it does solve a problem because I used to like lay down toilet paper or paper towels on the sink and then try to catch it, but it really just wasn't a very efficient way to do it. But this was a Shark Tank product, and I have to say, it's perfect. They did
And I'm
it.
putting $1 in
Wow.
Mark Cuban's pocket every time I use it. All right, let's move on. Next question, Joe. Autonomous taxis, are they good? So these are, I know you're not an expert on autonomous driving, I'm going to assume. I'm not either. No. But I did see that Waymo, this autonomous taxi company, is currently in LA. They say they're operating 24/7 across 63 square miles of Los Angeles, from Santa Monica to downtown. So just to answer the question in this sense, do you want to get in one of these? And JD, you put up a picture of this. It's you could see it's right outside Crypto.com Arena. That's how you know it's in Los Angeles.
Yeah, good God. Yeah, the self-driving car thing is something that I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like I am, on one hand, I'm like, this seems tricky, especially, if it wasn't so connected in my mind with Elon Musk, I would maybe be a little bit more amenable to it. Because on one hand, it's like, well, we're programming these things and can they be perfect? But then you also have to acknowledge that like human drivers are deeply imperfect, and there's a lot of collisions and issues on the road with human drivers. And so like, can a program really be that much worse? How can it not be better? And so that leaves me kind of in the middle.
Okay, but it's not necessary. So, for instance, I agree that if we're not already there, and I think we are according to their testing. But again, like you said, Elon Musk, I'm like, Tesla cars are getting recalled all the time. So
yeah, right. That's how I feel as well. I mean, like obviously the self-driving technology is not proprietary to Tesla and is not connected to Tesla necessarily. I think they have their own self-driving shit, and so I don't mean to drag the name of autonomous driving through the.
We have no coupon code for Teslas. Don't worry.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just because like ideal world, if we only had self-driving cars, it would probably. I mean, like it feels like technically, again, in an ideal world, it would like cut down on accidents considerably. I would assume but it would have to be all of them. Sure. But when you put a self-driving car in a driver like ecosystem, then I just don't know.
I think that we are going to get to the point where they are safer. I mean, my question is just, why do people want to be first? What is this mentality that people are like, oh my God, that's so cool. I want to hail a self-driving taxi. Like, if there was medication, they're like, well, we haven't tested it. It might work. You want it? Like, I'd be like, no. But also maybe that would at least be life-saving. There's no reason for me to take a driverless car right now. And I mean, and then when it comes to the Teslas, those aren't even self-driving. Like the picture I showed you, that you get in that there is no one in there with you. It's just going. A Tesla, you've seen the videos where the steering wheel is moving on its own, but you have to be sitting in front of it at the ready in case it goes rogue. So that I don't understand the appeal of that at all. It's like,
I guess people like being, and do we have confirmation that people are excited about this? Like consumers?
Great question. Well, yes, we do.
Then it has to be just.
And thank you for not asking what that proof is, but we do.
I did believe you. Sure. I guess it probably has to be being on the cutting edge of technology and feeling like you're in the future, like the thrill of that.
But
I think
that's cool when it was like 2001 and it was like, hey, we have iPods now, and I was like, okay, would love to be the first to have 5,000 songs, in something the size of a cassette tape. But this could kill me. I just don't, or at the very least would make me sweat constantly.
Let me cut to the chase. People want to jerk off in the car.
Wow. Now, never even thought of it.
And the danger that comes inherent with this technology gets them aroused.
Right. Now, do you know about there's this invention called the Cum King. It's a thing you wrap around your neck and then you suction it to the
wrap it around your balls.
Headrest.
It goes straight from the shaft, you put the Velcro around the shaft and then under the balls, and then you.
There's definitely going to be some fucking in these. There's no question.
I mean, I guess part of it is like the privacy, like for people who are so like just against the idea of having to be around not just another person, but a working class person. Yuck. So to eliminate that entirely, it probably has some appeal to like the most elitist, worst human alive.
Well, I think it also ruins it for some.
It ruins it?
Yeah, the driver being in the car with them while they're fucking is part of the thrill, right? So you take away the driver, maybe less fucking in the car.
Yeah, who's going to scream and then keep me hard?
Exactly.
I do wonder though if you can you if we get to the point where we can tell it stuff and it will, I was going to say assess our truth. Like, okay, for instance, Joe, let's say you're driving a car, I'm in the front seat.
Just ask it. Can you fuck the car? Yes or no?
Well, let me just read through my notes here.
Car fuckable? Why?
FAQ. Can you fuck the car?
Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, it says from the outside. From the outside, you can definitely stick your dick in the gas. Oh, there's no gas.
We've been able to do that for years.
If there's a hole where the gas tank would be on an electric car, that is for fucking people. Just so you know, because nothing else needs to go in there. Okay, so let's say I'm in the passenger seat, you're driving, Joe, and you're not moving, and I rib you with my elbow and go, Joe, buddy, the car in front of you is parked. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just don't realize. You're just waiting your turn like a good citizen. Sure. Could I say that to the car, and the car will... Because I'm bringing something to the table. I know the car thinks it's a computer and it's very smart, but I'm bringing a sense of intuition that it doesn't have.
Sure. Yeah, there are all sorts of situations. Like if you've ever been like driving somewhere and you're using GPS, using Google Maps, and it tells you to like go left and then left again and then go around this thing and then go through an alley, and you're like, I know because I live here that like all of this is avoidable and it would be a headache, and that you just need to like go straight and then turn right onto this thing, as opposed to it thinks it's saving 30 seconds by doing something dangerous and like taking an unprotected left and like all this sort of stuff. All those things seem like issues, right? Where human experience and intuition can come into play, but the computer thinks it knows what it's doing because it has some sort of algorithm that's tailored towards things like just time and distance.
Yeah, or what about like emergencies? Like you'll never have the experience. You hail the driverless autonomous taxi and you get in and you say, my wife's giving birth. Like, you know, it's not going to run the go through stop sign algorithm or something for you. It's you know, so I just don't think they're ready yet. And I don't know why people want this to be like, it's going to happen. I can agree with that and I can see the benefits. I just don't think we're there yet. So everyone relax and don't take these. But if you want to, we do have a coupon code for that. All right, Joe, not everyone is going to agree with everything you say, but sometimes you have to stand alone on the edge of popular consensus. It's time for unpopular opinions. So in this segment, I scour the internet for unpopular opinions, and I read them to you, and you tell me if you think they're right, good, so on and so forth. First one here, good singers shouldn't be allowed to do karaoke because it ruins it for everyone else. This person continues, the point of karaoke is that it's fun and funny because everyone is trying their best despite abject mediocrity. When you get a great singer, suddenly it makes it serious, and everyone is starkly aware of their lack of talent. It's like someone being able to do photorealistic drawings when playing Pictionary. So, I mean, I'm sure we've all had this experience. You go to karaoke, someone gets up there, and especially in LA where everyone is like a former, you know, Disney star, or at least went to musical theater school or something like that. People can just crush. To me, I love it. I think it's great. I think this unpopular opinion is wrong. But Joe, what say you?
Agreed. When someone goes up and they nail it and they just like crush a song, it is ecstatic. It's amazing. It's a galvanizing moment for the venue, for everybody there. Like you can just, it gives you something to root for. It's a surprise because the whole like thing is like anybody can sing, but if somebody just goes up there and just fucking tears it up, it's joyous. Like it's, and you know, you're not going to get a lot of those. And so it's like a little treat. And it's nice, and the person who thinks it like that person has insecurity issues that they need to deal with, and they need to find the things that they're good at and be confident in that, and let this person shine in a special way.
It's like this person saying, "Hey, people that are good at singing don't come to karaoke because it makes me feel bad." Is like me saying, "Hey, hot tall guys, don't come into this bar, please. You're ruining it."
Yeah. And you know, you become a monster with that kind of thinking. You have to. It's karaoke's for everybody.
JD, noted karaoke lover and enthusiast. How do you feel about this? I mean, obviously, you're the guy that goes in and crushes, and everyone is upset about it.
Hardly. I think I kind of agree with this unpopular opinion, to be honest. Probably because I've worked in enough bars where they have a karaoke night, you know, and you get the ringers that come in, and it's all they have, you know. It's like, oh, Max is back. He's doing whatever.
No, he's working his way through Bad Out of Hell.
Exactly.
By Meatloaf. These songs are all 9 minutes long.
Exactly. And it's just, it's a, you know, the people who don't go there every Wednesday night for a karaoke, but there are a bunch. But the ones that don't, they're like blown away. It's like, wow, this guy's amazing. You should go on American Idol. Oh, yeah. That's what he's there for. He's there for the compliments. And it's pathetic, and you just feel bad, and it actually brings the room down. Like if I had a, you know, I would rather have like a raucous sort of sing along of Sweet Caroline, you know, with terrible singers than somebody, you know, belting out My Heart Will Go On. like she does every Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's worse. That's the worst one.
This is a version of The Good Singer. I guess mine was a little more perfect world, just like you have a friend who happens to have a good voice and goes up and knows what to sing. But you're talking about these lifers who
exactly
are vampirically feeding off of compliments every week. And there's a few perspectives to this, and thank you for widening the view.
And this guy's saying, like, okay, abject mediocrity. He's right. Most people are mediocre, but there's still some people that are very bad, and it's still very easy to tell when someone is really bad and sucking and when someone is, decent. So why not mix it up by having someone that doesn't kill us? But obviously, good voice alone isn't going to take you far, just like in the real music industry. Personality, pizzazz, stage presence, song choice, number one thing probably in karaoke. Damn. So
true.
Look, I think we all learned something there. All right, this next one is a very weird one. Someone says, we should bring back dueling. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. Let me assure you, person that's writing this, it is. But we should allow dueling to solve problems. You hate your neighbor hates you. Call the cops and tell them you're about to duel your enemy. Both of you must give written and verbal consent, and once it's all sorted out, the two are either handed a modernized version of a single-shot flintlock pistol, a sword, or approved weapon of choice. And just in case you thought this person was crazy, he writes, I'm assuming it's a he, no modern firearms. P.S. Before the duel starts, the police or any higher authority can make efforts to negotiate a non-lethal solution to the problem. So I guess that's where we are currently. My thought on this, Joe, I don't know if you're going to dignify this with a response, but you know how in the 90s, bands could actually sell out. Like, you could get mad at a band like Pearl Jam or something if they did a Coke commercial.
Certainly.
But now you can't, like, Coldplay, whoever, they'll do anything and no one calls them out for it.
Yeah.
That's where we are with dueling. Dueling only works because if someone says, I'd like to duel you, it would be the greatest shame of your life to refuse. But now there is no shame anymore. So if someone says, like, Joe, if you're like, you're playing your music too loud and you're my neighbor, I'd like to duel you, I'd just be like, no.
Right.
I have a pretty simple solution there. I don't care how many times you slap me.
My neighbor asked me to duel him, and then you all laugh. Hey, remember when Dave, remember when your neighbor asked you to duel him? Yeah, what a virgin that guy is.
Fucking every time I see him, he waves to me and goes, "You ready? Ready for the duel?" I'm like, no.
One of these days,
Dave, I'm not ready for the duel. I think that there's maybe some tiny thing to be said for a world in which there are consequences and, like, you can't walk around being a dick and inconveniencing people. And I don't even know if this did happen more in the old days. We talk about it like it's like some idealized thing, but it's like people say, if that man walked into this bar and did that thing 30 years ago, he would have been punched out,
Mm-hmm.
Did that used to happen? I don't even know.
I think there's a way for like maybe a public shaming versus dueling. Like, people can vote, like, does this guy, do we get to throw tomatoes at this guy in the town square?
Right.
Like that, it maybe is a little less extreme than I get to shoot this man.
You know what you call someone who always skips out on dueling? Dua Lipa.
Hey, okay.
All right.
I don't hate it.
That's fine. All right, Joe, one more. This one is, I don't think anyone's going to agree with this.
Okay.
Squirrels are better than birds. Person says, millions of people put out bird feeders, but hate squirrels for stopping by. Squirrels have more personality, are more entertaining, and come around more often. Squirrels are the superior backyard creature. There's bird watching, there's not squirrel watching, so I can't imagine that, Joe, you're going to agree with this.
I think it's interesting. I like the idea.
Provocative.
I'll say this, I've never had a squirrel shit on me, so that's point squirrel. I think this is an interesting idea that, like, for some reason, and maybe a good reason, that squirrels are not a priority. Maybe because they can go wherever they want, get kind of whatever food they need, and they're okay. And the birds were helping out on some level. I get that there's a lot of different types of birds. There's a lot of colors. They do have the advantage of being aesthetically pleasing. And, they fly, and that's cool as shit. But there is something about, like, I kind of want to stand with the squirrels.
You're fighting for the underdog.
They're the underdogs, absolutely.
Wow, I'm sticking with the mammals. I like it.
And squirrels are cute. You know,
no bird flu.
But I've never heard of squirrel flu.
Rabies.
Rabies. There is
But
that.
that's not specifically from the squirrels.
True.
That comes from all critters. Right. But, you know, I applaud this unpopular opinion for thinking outside the bird box.
Okay. I think this is one case where personality isn't going to carry you through. Like, I agree, the squirrel has a great personality, but they're not trying to hide from us. Do you know what I mean? Like, they live in our world. They're not scared of us. The bird is trying to hide from us, and it's rare.
And it's a moment where we can bring them in and catch their beauty and their grace by like feeding them, and they get to come to our world, but then they're off again. So it's fleeting. You have to work for it. You have to earn it. I get that.
They fly amongst us, but they are not one of us. And yeah. Anyways, I think really the only good thing I've ever seen, like I've seen a squirrel sniff a flower. That's it. That's all the squirrel's ever done. I'd rather see one hummingbird than 50 squirrels. But that's just me.
I mean, hummingbirds that's the top of the exciting bird list.
But you're not thinking big enough, Joe. That's for a city bird. If you get out your binoculars,
you could see an ostrich from far away charging at you.
The ostrich is the squirrel of the bird world. That's for sure.
Interesting.
There's only one thing left to do, Joe, and that's play subjective trivia. So subjective trivia, it's just like regular trivia, except only I know the answer. I have my answer written right here, just so you know I'm not cheating. So just to get into it, we were talking off the top about being short. So to bring it full circle, today's question is, which food-related descriptor for a short person would I most want to be called? To be clear, I don't want to be called any of these things, but if I had to, which one would I most want to be called? As I said, my answer is on this card. Hopefully we get our answers to match. That's the goal of the game. And here are your options. Again, food-related descriptor for a short person I would most want to be called. We got shrimp, peanut, tater tot, short stack, or half pint. And JD does not know my answer, so you are free to consult with him.
Okay, so here's how I'm feeling, is that I came up with short stack before I saw the options.
What?
So
okay.
I was just based on the line of questioning. I was like, I wonder if short stack would be on there. And so I might be biased because I thought of it without even having to see the options. I think. And looking at them, I'm like, I think short stack just, pun intended, measures up. I think it works. It's not. It just seems to me like they're all condescending. Let's be clear.
Of course.
But
yeah,
that one to me, I feel like you can rock with it a little bit better than the others.
Now, it doesn't bother you that it has the word short in it?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for the short kings, but if I try to put myself in your shoes,
They're tiny.
Joe, don't listen to anything he says. He's 6'1". He is 6'1".
I'm
In bare feet, not even
I'm
socks.
5'11", 6
Are you really
foot
5'11"? Are you just trying to make us feel better?
No, I'm 5'11".
Oh, I always thought you were 6'1".
Well, I'm 6.
To me, you look 6'1".
I'm 6 foot at the doctors. They never make me take my shoes off. So
okay.
So shrimp is a classic bully term. Like I can hear Biff Tannen saying shrimp to a short person. Peanut is very close to penis, and it is it's also small and it's a nut. Tater tot is very cute, but if you're being called that as a short person, I don't think that you want that. Like the tot, it's like a toddler almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Half pint is, very Little House on the Prairie. I think that's what Laura Ingalls was called by her father. But short stack, I don't know. It sounds like an Overwatch character. You know what I'm saying? Like
No, actually, no, I don't know what you're saying.
Well, like
Joe,
a
do you know
video
what he's
game,
saying?
like it's like you pick it's sort of like the short guy in a
Oh,
video game.
okay.
Short stack could be
Short
someone
stack.
in your brigade, like
Yeah.
in your troop, like in the trenches with you. Like, hey, do you know my crew over there? We got Highball, that guy over there, Lefty, and of course, who could hate short stack? It's like it feels like it's got a
Totally.
yeah. It's got
None
the
of these
vibe to it.
none of these other ones you could be part of a crew. I don't think.
Okay, so final answer, short stack?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
so.
JD, your reasoning was great. Joe didn't even need any reasoning. He was going
No.
for his heart, but you're right. Shrimp, too insulting.
Yes.
Peanut, too infantilizing. Tater tot, infantilizing, and sounds like something Joe Biden would say. Half pint, I don't want to be to get gender involved, but it feels like more of a short woman. Like maybe I'm thinking Little House on the Prairie too much.
Yeah, totally.
But by God, Joe, you got it right. It's short stack.
Killed it.
I mean,
That's my guy short stack over there.
that's
You don't
me,
mess
short
with him.
stack. Don't mess because the short guys, they're always a terror because they have a knife. That's why. Joe, your reward for getting that right is telling people where they can find you.
Oh my goodness! So I am online at JoeKJoeK on Twitter, at JoeKwa JoeKWA on Instagram and TikTok. I am constantly, as Matt mentioned, I'm releasing content like it's going out of style. I'm a lot of sketches coming up, and you can listen to my album Funny Songs and Sketches wherever you listen to anything. And you can, if you're interested, and check out my podcast. It's a subject that people don't really talk about much, but we really get into it. Who Cares About the Rock Hall is the name of that. And my stand-up specials are on YouTube. If you search my name, Joe Kwaczala stand-up, you'll see my Comedy Central one is up there, and also one I did with Helium Comedy Studios. And so that is that's close to everything that I do. And you can, if you really want to waste some time, I got a lot of, I released 31 sketches in one day, and I did it again with 21, and I'm going to do something similar very soon. So if you ever need to waste time, I've got plenty of stuff for you to watch or listen to.
Now, this is a guy that needs to get in a driverless car so he can post content without having
Right.
to hold the steering wheel.
I got to be editing. I got to be posting. I can't be driving. Are you kidding me? Get me a self-driver.
Okay, then quick parting shot after you talk about your rock pod again. One band that's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that pisses you off and should absolutely be in.
I have, all right, Joy Division, New Order. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Oh, and
Sure.
induct them together.
They took them together. They're the same band. It's just,
Yeah.
they share the same story. They just,
Same
chose
DNA.
to change their name because of Ian's passing. But, it's all one thing.
That's fucking insane that they're not in. Because
Yeah, I
New
think-
Order
I
also
think-
has hits, Joy Division insanely influential, and Young Death. Like you would think that.
Yeah, right.
These
They made the
things would
ballot
be
for the
enough.
first time 2 years ago. They'll be back. They'll get in. It's a matter of time. That's the thing about like really any band that is truly, truly worthy is they will get in. The hall will find a way. But that one is just, if I had to measure up the stats, it's like Joy Division, New Order, slam dunk, and I await its arrival soon. I'm sure it will be very soon.
All right, well, we'll end on that message of hope. If you're good enough, you will get in. Remember to check us out, patreon.com/isthisgood. Send me emails at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Joe for coming on. Thanks in advance for leaving a 5-star review. For everyone, I'm Matt Austin, and this was good. We'll see you next week.